Okay, mighty companions, I want to welcome you to a course in miracles. I'm Earl Purdy, and every time I get a chance to let the course in miracles come through me, I feel this incredible healing energy all through my being. And so I want to start out by saying how grateful I am. How grateful I am to be here with you. How grateful I am to be with all those online here on Facebook and YouTube. So would you please take a breath for a minute? Just stop for a minute and allow yourselves to just become aware of your body. How it feels wherever you are. If you're sitting, how it feels. Focus in on your breath right now. Take a breath. We're going to talk about setting the goal. So just take a minute to close your eyes and let yourself get centered with me. You're going to apply the application of love. We're going to talk about the application of love. The application of love. It's simple. Do you know that for something to be simple, it must be easily understood? You don't mind? Close your eyes. And for something to be simply easily understood, it's got to be clear and simple. So I'm going to give you some very simple teachings from A Course in Miracles. I'm going to give you some very simple teachings from A Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles has only one purpose, and that's for you to experience love. That's for you to experience peace, and for you to experience freedom. The Holy Spirit is the part of God that is in you, that's aware of the life that you're living, but is also aware of its connection to Source. So the Holy Spirit is the part of your mind that's aware of God, and the part of your mind, according to the Course in Miracles, that's aware of the circumstances that you think you're in right now. It's called the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the part of your mind, the Course in Miracles teaches, that is totally sane. And you're about to allow your sane mind to give you love through setting the goal. The Course in Miracles teaches that if you want to see the principles of the Course in Miracles work, you have to apply it very specifically. So you have to apply how to have your goals, how to achieve your goals. You need to give yourself a goal right now. What is it that you want? What is it that you want? What is your goal? What is your goal? What do you want? This needs specific application. It so happens that today is Mother's Day. For those of you who need to forgive your mother, for those of you who need to see your mother another way, for those of you who need to see your mother another way, for those of you who need to forgive your mother, set that as a specific goal. And I'll show you through the Course in Miracles how you would go about achieving that goal. Today we're going to learn the attitudes that you should take in order to achieve a goal from A Course in Miracles perspective. What is the attitude that you need to take? What is it you need to do from A Course in Miracles perspective to achieve your goals? So you need a specific goal right now. Think of a specific thing you want to happen. Think of a purpose, a goal that you have. The Holy Spirit is going to provide guidelines for this situation that you're in. God is going to provide guidelines for this situation that you're in. Spirit is going to provide guidelines in this situation. And you're going to use these instructions in each situation. One day you'll use these instructions in every relationship and in every situation that you're in an understanding much greater than the understanding you now possess. One day you're going to use truth principles. One day you're going to use universal law. One day you're going to use the truth. And you're going to use the truth with a greater understanding than you have right now. So what's the first thing you should do in any situation that you have doubt? What should you do in any situation that you feel uncertain? What should you do in any relationship that you feel uncertain in? What is it that you should do in any situation, any circumstance that you have doubt in? It says the first thing to consider in this situation that you're dealing with some doubt, some conflict, or some fear, the first thing you should consider is, what do I want to come of this? What do I want to come of this situation? What do I want to come of this situation? Ask yourself right now, what is it that I want to come of this situation? What is it that, in this situation that I feel doubt, in this situation that I have some uncertainty, it says I need to ask myself, what do I want to come of this situation? The second question you should ask yourself in any situation that you feel doubt and uncertainty in any situation that you feel doubt and uncertainty in, the second question you are being asked by A Course in Miracles to ask yourself is, what is this situation for? What is this that I'm going through? What is it for? What am I going through this for? What am I going through this for? What is it for? What do I want to come out of this? What is it for? What do I want to come out of this situation? What is it for? Do you know that's the first thing you should consider if you're in any situation where you're feeling doubt, or any situation that you're feeling fear or conflict or guilt or depression or lack? What is the first thing you need to consider? You need to consider, what do I want to come out of this? What do I want to happen in this situation? What is the result that I would really like to have? What is it for? What am I going through this relationship for? What am I going through this situation for? The clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning. The clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning. You need to get clear about your goal at the beginning of the relationship. You have to get clear about your goal at the beginning of the job. You get clear about your goal in the beginning of your spiritual quest. You have to be clear about what your goal is at the very beginning. And because that's going to determine how it turns out. Your goal determines the outcome. Your goal determines the outcome. The goal determines how it's going to turn out. The goal determines the outcome. The goal determines the outcome. The goal determines how it's going to turn out. That's why you have to come up with your goal at the very beginning. The wrong voice, and the Course does talk in terms of right and wrong, and it says the wrong voice doesn't know what it wants out of the situation. So the part of you that doesn't know what it wants, the Course calls that the ego. That's the false voice. So the ego is only aware of what it doesn't want. The wrong voice is just aware of what it doesn't want. So that voice in you that says, well, I don't want this, and I don't want that, and I don't want the other. I don't want it this way, and I don't want it that way, and I don't want to go here, and I know what I don't want in the situation. The Course in Miracles says that part of you is the ego. That part of you is not your true voice. Okay. So we're going to be on paragraph 3. On page 366. So I'm going to do what he says. I'm going to set the goal at the very beginning. My goal as a 50-year Course in Miracles student practically is, as a teacher, my goal is especially to help people get more clarity on what the course is saying and to hear what the course is saying and to give it practical application in their everyday life. That's why I teach. I teach because I want to apply these principles in my everyday life. So, and I especially want to be helpful to people who are attempting to read the book. So those of you that are watching me that want to get deeper in the course and you want to read the book, then I'm going to especially also try to be helpful to you. If you have books, please go get them. If they are available to you, follow along with me in the book, because I'm going to give you some tips about reading the book to make that whole journey through it easier. One day you're going to get to the point where you read yourself out of your problems. You're going to learn something about the Course in Miracles that people who study the book find out is after a while you'll find that if you focus in on it and you read it and you study it and you actually read it, what you'll find is that your problems will be resolved. Just by reading it. So until you try that, you may not believe me. So if you say it hasn't happened that I've read the course and the problem hasn't been solved, it means I haven't heard what I read. But the book will kick your butt. I love the book. The book is off the chain. So let me give you an example. And if you do it in a question form, it will even be more powerful. Like, do you know that, okay, why do the things just seem to happen to you? Why is it that it can seem like some things that just happen to people? Well, the Course says it. Well, without a clear-cut positive goal set at the outset, the situation just seems to happen. It makes no sense. If you don't have any clear-cut positive goal that you set at the outset, you're going to be a person that situations just seem to happen to. Like it just said. The situation just seems to happen and make no sense until it's already happened. Then something happens, you weren't sure what should have happened in the first place. And he goes, then it doesn't make any sense to you. And you say, this thing has happened to me and it doesn't make any sense. This thing has happened to me and it doesn't make any sense. He says, then what you do, he says, then you turn around and you look back on what happened and then you try to piece together what it meant. This doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to now look back on it and see if I can piece together what happened. Me breaking up in my relationship with my partner didn't make any sense to me. And so I'm going to look back at my relationship and I'm going to see if I can piece together what this relationship meant. Everybody familiar with that process? It didn't turn out. It doesn't make any sense. It didn't give me the peace I thought it would. And so I'm going to try to look back and think about what happened. And I'm going to piece it together. And I'm going to try to figure out what happened. I'm going to try to figure out what it meant. And what is the next line? The Course says, and you will be what? Wrong. What? Yeah, when you look back on something that didn't make any sense to you and you're dealing with a situation that doesn't make any sense to you and you look back on it and you try to piece together what it meant, the Course in Miracles says, you're going to be wrong. So if I'm looking back on something that I think happened to me that didn't make any sense, I need to just admit to myself to save myself some time that I'm wrong about what I think happened. Then it goes together. Then it tells you. See, a lot of times with the Course in Miracles, the temptation is to read a sentence, back off the book, and then you give your interpretation of what you think it meant. Are you familiar with that? You read it, and then you try to interpret what you just read. The Course doesn't read that way. It assumes, in my perception, it assumes that you don't know what it's talking about. So if you keep on reading, it's going to always explain its interpretation of what you just read. Let me give you an example. It says, then you will look back at it, try to piece together what it must have meant, and you will be wrong. Why? Not only was your judgment in the past, the truth is you didn't have any idea what should happen. If you didn't have any idea of what should happen, then the Course in Miracles says that's why you don't know what anything means, because you weren't clear in the first place about what was supposed to happen. And so how do you know that you didn't have any idea about what should happen in that relationship? Well, the next sentence says, well, because no goal was set. You didn't have, what do you mean? Well, you hadn't asked yourself the question, what do I want to come of this and what is it for? You weren't really sure what you were in the relationship for. You weren't really clear about what you were in that situation for. And I like to break it down. I don't really know what I'm in this job for. I'm in this relationship for. In this city for. The Course in Miracles is saying to us quite clearly, if you're uncertain, but in an area that you're uncertain. See, this class is not about positive thinking. It's about how to interpret whatever you're going through, whether it's something you consider positive or something you consider negative. And so if you notice, Jesus of A Course in Miracles is saying the first thing I want you to do is to get clear about what you want to come out of the situation and to get clear about what the relationship is for, because if you don't do that, things are just going to seem to happen in the relationship and it's not going to make any sense to you. And then you're going to look back on it and try to figure out what was really going on. And you're going to be wrong because you didn't set a goal in the first place about what should have happened in the relationship. Sometimes in relationships, I've noticed that people just assume it should work out. That they don't sit down and go, hey, baby, you want to be in this relationship together right now. What do we want to come out of this relationship? What is this relationship for? What are we going to use our relationship for? What do we want to come out of this? And so if you don't do that, then the Course in Miracles says, well, what's going to happen is just stuff going to seem to happen. And it's not going to make any sense to you. And then you're going to try to figure out what it meant. And you might even think you're right about the way you figured it out. But he says, no, I want to run it down to you, Purdy. You're going to be wrong because you didn't really know or set any goal about what should have happened in the relationship in the first place. How do I know that? Because I didn't do what I was told. I didn't do what is it I should want to come out of this relationship and what is it for. If I would be honest with you all, in most relationships, I don't sit down with the other person that I'm in an intimate relationship and a partnership with, and we actually have a time that we sit down and we go, what is this relationship for? What do we want to come out of this? Or in this group, what is this group for? What do we want to come out of it? You know, I'm your friend. What do we want to come out of our friendship with each other? Because if I know what the code is, if I know what the purpose is, now I know what my behavior, my actions, what direction they should be going in. But if I just think just because our bodies are together and we like each other and we went out a couple of times and we had a good time, that's not the same as me saying, what is my relationship with you for? What do we want to come out of this? And then it's already told us, if you don't get clear about that, you're just going to have some things that seem to happen. Now notice, when you're looking down at the book, those who are following in the book, this is not Earl Purdy giving you his interpretation of the Course. You'll see that I'm saying exactly what's on the page. I'm not giving you my interpretation. I'm giving you its interpretation. But knowing that we still are going to interpret the interpretation. That's what's so funny, right? I know that everybody in here is going to have a different interpretation of what I'm saying. And that doesn't matter, really, because if it's the truth, it's going to apply to any interpretation you have. It doesn't matter what your interpretation of me in this situation is, because this same rule is going to apply to no matter what interpretation all of you have. That in any situation that you're in, no matter what situation that you're in, unless you get clear in your mind as to why you're in that situation, things are just going to seem to happen, and it's not going to make any sense, and then you're going to try to piece together what it meant, and then the Course says your judgment is in the past, but you have no idea what should happen, because no goal was set with which to bring the means in line. And so what's the only judgment left to make? He says, well, if you don't have any goal and you don't know what was supposed to happen, then you got one judgment you're going to make if you don't really know what's going on and you pieced it together and now you think you figured out what happened between you and your partner. Because I use relationships a lot because the Course in Miracles says it's a book that teaches you how to use relationships as a tool for spiritual awakening. So I want to be real clear. The Course in Miracles is about relationships. Whether it's your relationship with God or your relationship with a person,
It says that relationships are just one way that you can go have your awakening, but it's faster than 100 years of meditation. You'll learn more in 5 minutes being in a relationship with somebody than 100 years of meditation. When I want to find out where I'm really coming from as opposed to where I think I'm coming from, then I let myself have a relationship. Then I get a chance, because when I'm by myself, I can think that I've actually become much more loving and sane than I actually have, because I don't have anybody triggering me. And I'm doing just what I want to do all the time, and nobody's stopping me from doing it. And so, why would I want a relationship? Oh, anyway, okay. It's like, okay, I'm doing what I want to do every day. Nobody's getting upset with me about what I'm doing. I can come and go as I please. I can be with anybody I want to. What do I want a relationship for? See, like I said, I need to ask myself, what do I want a relationship for? What do I want to come out of it? Then the Course in Miracles says, I'm going to give you the overview because I read all of it, right? So it said, then a relationship will be offered to you. A relationship will be sent to you. He says that in the Manual for Teachers, he says, when you say I'm ready to learn, then a relationship will be offered to you, because let me tell you, that's where school's located. Okay, so then it says you got one judgment to make after you have pieced together what you think it meant. He says, and that's whether or not, it says the ego likes it, or is this what's happened acceptable, or does it call for vengeance? Okay, I just pieced together what happened between me and you. And now I'm trying to decide, do I get upset about this? Do I attack you about this? Or is this acceptable, or is this something I'm going to have to get upset about? Right? After you get through figuring it all out, then he says, then you decide how you're going to feel about it. So you decide whether or not, I love how he says, is this acceptable, or does it call for vengeance? I like to say, is this acceptable, or do I need to kick some ass? That's the Earl Purdy version of the Course in Miracles. Right? Have you ever had that happen? Where you piece together what you think happened, and then you try to decide whether you tried to be sane about it or whether you got upset about it. The Course in Miracles is telling us stuff that we do all the time, and when it's said in a sentence and said back to us, our mind can be tempted to go, I don't understand. You do understand. You do understand. You know exactly what it means to seem like you're in a situation that doesn't make any sense, and you're wondering how you got in the situation, and then you try to figure out how you got in the situation, and then after you get through trying to figure out what it meant, then you're trying to decide how you're going to respond. The Course just tells us what we do, and all of us are doing that no matter what your perception is of what I'm saying. Okay? Then it goes on to say, then it gives a very fancy term for goal. I love it, because it says the same thing in a lot of different ways. So instead of saying goal, if you notice in the next sentence, it says, the absence of a criterion for outcome set in advance. So what is a goal? It's a criterion for outcome set in advance. I'm going to have a way that I'd like this to turn out in advance. When I come here to teach, I would love to be a clear vessel for someone in here that, and what's watching, that really makes a difference for them and really helps them in some way. My goal is to be truly helpful to those I can be truly helpful to. So if I forget that, then I lose sight of my purpose for sitting here in front of you sharing the Course in Miracles right now. So I know why I'm here with you right now. And since I know why I'm here with you right now, wouldn't I also help me know what to do with you right now and how to relate to you right now? Because I know why I'm here with you right now. And it says it. The absence of a criteria for outcome set in advance, what happens? He says, well, it makes understanding doubtful and evaluation impossible. So if you don't know why you're in a relationship with me, then you're not going to understand the relationship, and you're not going to be able to evaluate the relationship correctly. If me and you said we're in a relationship with each other, give each other love and peace and support, and all we're doing is attacking, judging, and condemning each other, then we don't understand why we're in the relationship together. Because we said we wanted to be in the relationship to have peace and joy, with each other and to grow together. That if we're attacking each other, then I don't understand what's going on. I say, well, because you're not clear why you're in a relationship. See, if I'm clear that I'm in a relationship to help you feel innocent and see your innocence, then I already know how I'm supposed to respond, if at all possible, to anything that you tell me. It becomes, okay, Darlene, you're telling me what's going on with you right now. My goal, since we made the decision that the purpose of our relationship is for us to have peace with each other and to love, right? Then if I start to feel myself get upset by what you're saying, based on our goal, should I attack you or should I try to get another way to look at it? Exactly. Why? Because I said I never want to hurt you, that I'm your friend, and I never want to hurt you, and I always want you to feel joy with me and peace with me. So since that's the goal that we've set in advance, I understand what's going on. Because if something is coming up between us, then I know that I should be focusing on my goal of me and you having peace instead of me and you attacking each other. Does that make sense to everybody? Because I know it's hard because it's simple. I mean, I'm not being funny. The book says that the simpler it is, the harder it's going to be for us to understand it. Because it's too damn simple. Me and you decided we're going to like each other and treat each other right. I'm trying to decide whether or not I'm going to go off on you because of something that you did last night. Well, our goal is to be loving and kind to each other, so that should tell me right then that attacking you is not what I should do, because it's not in line with my goal. But if I don't know what I want to do with you, then I don't know how to respond toward nothing that happens between. If I don't know what I want to do with you when I go out on a date with you, then how can I judge how successful I am on this date with you? But if I don't have a goal for what I want to experience with me and you together, then just anything can happen. The whole evening, just anything can happen. We had no idea what should happen. Notice I'm repeating it because the course repeats it. Why? Because it says you're going to forget it. You're going to forget it. You may not, because you're exceptional. But yeah. You're not going to forget it. You're not going to forget it. There's some people out there around the world that just might forget this. I don't think relationships are complicated. I'm sorry. I am not in the ballpark of relationships are hard. It's just people who want it their way and try to use guilt and anger and manipulation to get people to do it the way they want to do it. And those who actually want peace and love with somebody, so they're going to be peaceful and loving as they can possibly be in the relationship. And if a problem does come up, they want each other to have peace with each other so much that they'll ask for help and they'll work it out so that they can have peace with each other because they want to have peace with each other. And that's the end of the relationship problem. Relationships aren't complicated. It's just so many people are in them who have no goal and have no idea and no purpose and how it should turn out. You know, so, and notice I'm just going through the book. Now watch what, this next sentence is so simple, but it's so important. It says, the value of deciding in advance what you want to happen is, that's setting a goal. What is setting a goal? I'm deciding in advance what I want to happen. I decided before I came here that what I wanted to happen was me teach the Course in Miracles today. I decided that in advance that I wanted to be a means for the Course in Miracles happening today. So the Course in Miracles is saying, so how should I see this situation? Then he tells you, well, I'll tell you how you should be seeing this situation and once you set the goal. What does it say? You should see the situation as a means to make what you want to happen. Every situation that you're in is another opportunity to make what you want happen. What is every situation in every relationship? An opportunity for you to have what you want. He said you should see every situation as an opportunity for you to make what you want to happen. So if I wanted to teach the Course in Miracles before I came here, then me sitting in front of you is just an opportunity to make teaching the Course in Miracles to you happen. So every situation is just an opportunity to make what you want to happen. Every situation, any one of you all are going to go into the rest of the day, even if without me even knowing what those situations are, I know those situations are going to be an opportunity for you to make what you want to happen. And either you're going to make peace happen for you, and either you're going to make conflict happen for you. I know that that's what we're going to do all the rest of the day. We're either going to use the situations that show up to bring us more love and peace, or we're going to use the situations that show up to give us more separation and fear. That's what's going to happen. I am predicting your future.
Without a ball, right?
So what's the value in deciding what you want to happen in the situation? What's the advantage of deciding what you want to happen in the situation? Who can say it?
To make it happen.
Say again?
Make it happen.
That's right. Thank you.
So look, so-
Right. That's why I tell people, I'm not brilliant, I can read. I've said that for 40 years. Because I can tell you, what most people do with the Course in Miracles, in my perception, is they read it and then they put their interpretation of it. If you notice, I'm not doing that. I'm actually saying what's on the page. But I'm saying it in a way that you can hear it. Because you know why you can hear it better? It's because we're joined. That's why I can read the book that you read and you'll say, I don't understand what this just said, but we're together joining on the truth. And then when I say it, it doesn't sound strange at all. Because we joined. And that's the point. The point is that we joined. It has nothing to do with whether each person in here gets the course or understand it. The healing is happening because all of us came together with the purpose of peace. That's why we're able to hear it and understand it. And that's why none of us are fighting each other. Because we all have the same purpose. Duh, right? So all you have to do to give yourself peace in any situation or relationship is try to think of one thing, at least one thing you and this other person can join on the purpose that's the same. If I'm around somebody and I can tell they're not ready for a metaphysical conversation, spiritual conversation, then what I'm going to do as quick as I can is try to be interested enough to get them to communicate so I can look for what I can join with them on. They're talking and I'm trying to go, okay, oh, you're a plumber, okay. I've always wondered how you get the toilets to flush on the 39th floor. And the plumber gets into a conversation. Well, let me tell you what that takes, the water pressure. So all of a sudden, you got this one thing you're joining on that you're able to talk about. And I tell you the funny thing about people. If they like you because they feel a connection with you, even if they don't understand you, even if they don't agree with you, they'll still be kind to you and loving to you. And they'll even say stuff like, somebody else could have said that, and that would have really upset me. But you said it, and I didn't get up. That's because you like me. And it's because we like each other. So I'm not interested so much in everybody intellectually joining with me and thinking the way that I think, so much as can we make a heart connection so that we care about each other? Because if we care about each other, we'll be tolerant. That comes with love. So sometimes on a metaphysical, spiritual path, it can devolve really very quickly into analyzation and debating, and I'm going to intellectually get this. I want to love you all, and I want to let go of every block that keeps me from loving you all. That's my goal, and it protects me. He said, your purpose. Jesus of the Course in Miracles says your purpose will protect you. Your purpose will protect you. So if your purpose is to be loving and harmless and peaceful, that's going to create that peace and safety for you. But he says we've been programmed to think attack is what's going to bring peace. So we attack in the name of peace, and that's what we call war. We think attack is going to bring peace. And whoever's the better attacker, who has the biggest bombs, the biggest whatever, then that's the person that's going to create peace for themselves because they destroyed their enemy. Woo! Woo! Do you know that I'm about to continue in this section and it's going to describe exactly how you achieve your goal, exactly how you achieve you're about to hear exactly how to achieve in other words, I've decided I'm going to make this situation that I'm in with you all right now an opportunity for me to practice love and peace and doing the course. Okay, how do I make that happen? He says, I'm going to tell you how you make it happen. He says, you will therefore make every effort to do what? Overlook what interferes with the accomplishment of your objective. Overlook what interferes with your goal. Overlook everything. Like, in other words, I like to use real situations. And, darling, you're picked. Okay, you're going to be, you're in a temporary special relationship with me during this class. Okay? All right, okay. And so I'm going to pretend that we're going through the stuff that people go through. I've decided I want to have peace in our relationship. We decided we want to have peace in our relationship. So I'm going to see every time I'm with you as an opportunity to make fun happen, to make peace happen. And we've been pretty successful at that in our friendship, right? I don't ever remember me cussing you out. Never. All right. That'd be like cussing out Bambi. I go straight to hell. if I thought there was one. Fortunately, I don't think there is. You know, the court says, I don't know how to break it to you, my brother. You're already in hell. You're in a place where anything can happen to anyone you love at any time. That's the definition of hell. So your job is to transform fear into love. To turn hell, he says, into heaven. You know, that our job is to get rid of all have the goal of getting rid of all the fear and separation that we have with each other. Let that block be removed so that the love that we already are can just radiate through us to each other. See, I'm trying to raise my shade so my light can shine through. My shade is my ego, it's my beliefs, it's my grievances, it's the stupid stuff I learned from the world self. That's the shade. But that's who I think I am. So sometimes it seems like when the chorus is talking about the ego, when you read it, you go, that sounds like the chorus is talking about me. You ever read the chorus, he be talking about you go, wait a minute. So if I get rid of the ego, that's the same as getting rid of me. And so that part of me that identifies with my ego, that separate self called Earl Purdy, that part of me becomes afraid of the truth because it would sound like the truth is trying to get rid of the identity that I think I am. And it's not. What it's doing is trying to exchange that sense of identity and self-concept with another one. He says, then you wake up. So I got to let go of my concept of being evil or guilty or separate, right? And I got to exchange it or replace it with the idea that I'm joined, that I'm loving, that I'm peaceful, that I'm innocent. So I got to change self-concepts first. So I'm going to be in a relationship with you, then I want to be clear that the reason why we're together is we want to help each other have a loving concept of ourselves. So I would advise you to only get in intimate personal relationships with people you like. It would be, the whole process becomes a lot easier. Don't get with them because you want security. Don't get with them because of status. Don't get with them about the money they have. Don't get with them just because of the trips you might be. And most of all, don't think you should be in a relationship just because you had a great sexual experience with each other. Because in the past, I've had that happen. Where just because the pleasure was so great, we thought that meant we should be together. And so we try to make ourselves be together, even though that was the only reason why we was trying to do it. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Am I being too adult? I don't think I am. Okay. It was funny, but I've done Course in Miracles talks before, teenagers before in my teaching career, and they would ask more questions like that than the adults. It was always interesting. They would be the one that want to get clear about their sexuality or drugs, or they would be the ones that would talk about money or whatever. That's rarer, I found, when I'm talking to adults. That those are things that they tend not to talk about as quickly. But there's been plenty of situations where I went out on a date and I knew what I wanted to come out of that. And I saw so that there's an opportunity to make what I want to happen, happen. And sometimes I've gone home and felt like that didn't make no sense. That just seemed to happen. You know, have you ever said that? Oh, that just happened to me. I don't know how that happened. My body made me do it. You know? Yeah. So what do you do to make what you want to happen happen? Look at the next part of the paragraph. It says, what do you do? He says, well, you will therefore make every effort to overlook what interferes with the accomplishment of your objective. So how do you overlook the interference? How do I overlook the argument? How do I overlook the misperception? How do I overlook what appeared to be how I was deceived in some way in this? How do I overlook what interferes? Here's how you do it. When you read in the course, the next part of the sentence explains what the first part of the sentence meant. The course is written like a group of synonyms. So you could read it like this. The value of deciding in advance what you want to happen is simply that you will perceive the situation as a means to make it happen. How do you do that? You overlook, you make what? Every effort to overlook. You make every effort to overlook what interferes with the accomplishment of your goal. And what's the second half of the sentence? Concentrate on everything that helps you meet the goal. So if I'm going to overlook what you said that I don't like because my goal with you was peace, instead of me focusing on how I'm going to overlook what it was Darlene said that I didn't like, I'm going to concentrate on every thought about you in this situation that would help me keep peace between us. So the way I overlook what interferes is by concentrating on what helps me get what I want. So how would that look? I'm beginning to feel upset and attacked and defensive by something that you're saying. Okay, so that means I'm aware right now what's interfering with the goal. I want peace with you. I ain't feeling it right now. Okay, so what do I do? It says, well, what you do is you concentrate on what would help you have peace with Darlene. The fact that y'all, here's a good one. The fact that y'all set the goal in the first place, that y'all wanted to be friends and to stay friends with each other. That your goal is not to attack each other. And here's another one. I could take this opportunity to try to remember every loving thought that you've ever shared with me and every one of them fabulous dinners I ever ate at your place. See, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on what would make me appreciate you and keep the peace with you instead of concentrating on everything you're saying that I can get upset about. And that's how you actually achieve your goal. You focus on everything that helps you meet it. You overlook everything that makes you want to stay separate and keep you from having your goal. Anybody that says to me, yes, but, is somebody that still wants to keep the conflict going. And you're ready to tell me your justification for wanting to keep the conflict going. Because you'll be saying, no, you can't do that. We're supposed to do da. Okay, if you can't do that, your goal is to be separate from that person. That's why you can't forgive. Your goal isn't to join, because forgiveness would make a joining happen. The truth is, there's a part of you that don't want to be with me anymore and doesn't want to be in this relationship anymore. And since you don't want to be in this relationship or situation with me anymore, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to focus on everything that makes you feel separate from me, and you're going to overlook every loving thing I've ever done for you. Nothing is a bigger call for love for me than being in a special relationship with somebody. And then it could be a long-term relationship where you've had incredible times that you've shared love and peace and happiness with each other, been there for each other. Then for some reason, you create some kind of separation and upset at the end of the relationship. And then they treat you like that was the whole relationship. So whatever the last thing was, that's the only thing they can remember about you, was the hurt or the anger that they had at the end of the relationship. And they overlooked you being at the hospital with them 4 nights straight, helping them go to the bathroom. All they remember is they got upset with you at the party last night and y'all broke up. And now every time they think of you, they think of something that upsets them. They totally overlooked every loving thought and act that we ever had with each other. But guess what? If I wanted to love you and I wanted peace with you and I valued you, that's what I would remember and try to overlook the thing I just had the argument with you, and you just had the argument with me. I would want to overlook that because I don't have to keep focusing in on it. And I could focus on everything you've ever done for me that I appreciate. See, this is too simple. Every one of us are capable of doing what the Course in Miracles is telling us to do. Every one of you all know you could do this today if you wanted to. But it just depends on what your purpose is and what your goal is. Any question? I'm going to stay on topic though. Any question? Everybody understand? So in what situation are you supposed to be doing what we're hearing right now? In any situation that you're uncertain in any situation or relationship that you got, it could be a financial situation. The same rule would apply, right? If my goal is to have more prosperity, then I got to overlook the kind of thoughts that would make me think I deserve to have lack, and I'd have to concentrate on everything that would allow me to allow my abundance. Same thing. So that means I need to get clear in my own mind from the very beginning, what is it that I want in this area of my life? Instead of looking at it like my financial situation just seems to happen. And then I try to look back on it and see what I did wrong in my budget or whatever, and then I'm wrong. Like he says, not why? Because you didn't have any goal that you set in the first place. But do you know if your goal is God? Do you know if your goal is God or truth or your higher power? Then all the rest of it is going to be added. Do you know that when you really get to an advanced spiritual state, that the only thing that you ask for is God, your connection to your source, because you know that in that connection, you'll have everything that you need in abundance? Well, surefire sign that a person doesn't really know where their good comes from is how much you ask for the thing rather than the cause of the thing. You can either get a piece of candy, or you could get the candy factory that produces the candy. And that's our relationship with Source, with God, right? So I want to see God in every one of you every time I'm with you, because if I can see God and love in each and every one of you, think of how much I'll be asking for and how much I'll receive if I'm seeing God in every one of you. I don't see God in your egos, and I don't see God in your body. And you don't see God in my ego, and you don't see God in my body. And my body is my God. And it was a time, it was a few other people's God, but that was decades when it got full worship. Oh my God. God, I'm glad so no such thing as sin. Because I'll admit, I have done whatever I wanted to do at some time in my life. I've always checked out and been curious and would check out things and try new things. And you know what I mean? But you can make a lot of guilt when you do that, because a lot of times it looks like you're breaking the rules of the world. And then you'll be tempted to make yourself feel guilty about expressing yourself the way you want to. Do you know that's really most people's crime, is that they just want to express themselves the way they want to, and they're in relationships with people who won't let them in their perception, or judge them, or try to stop them, or try to limit them. When you're scared of yourself, you choose a partner who is your jailer. You choose somebody that you can say, I would be able to do this if it wasn't for them. Or I like this one. I would like to express myself this way, but they'll get upset about it. Woo! Woo! So I don't know about you, but I want to be in a relationship where innocence and peace and joy and fun and help and healing happen. Do you?
Sure.
Okay. Then you need to state that as a goal and not assume it. Then you need to recognize that every situation that you're going to go into for the rest of the day and the rest of the week is just going to be another opportunity for you to make that happen. It's okay. And I was saying it to the group I spoke to this morning. The Course in Miracles says your ego is going to want to forget this or go to sleep. Okay, so it's okay to yawn. It's okay. I don't mind seeing your tonsils. Okay, it's all right. So you don't have to be embarrassed, because Jesus has already told me that that's the response that people are going to have when I teach the Course in Miracles. That's what it means when the Course says, let me recognize this problem has been solved. That's one of the workbook lessons. Let me recognize my problems have been solved. That you're supposed to say that all day. And then I used to ask, what do you mean my problems have been solved? Well, yeah, you got the answer to them, so they've been solved. The issue is, will you use the answer I've given you? Will you use the solution I've given you? So it's been solved. There's a way to have prosperity if you want prosperity. There's a way to have love and relationships if you want love and relationship. There's a way to have everything you want that you could be taught. Well, not just like today, right? If you're in a situation that you have doubt and uncertainty, the first thing you should do is say, what do I want to come out of this? What is it for? The clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning, because your goal is going to determine how it turns out. And if you don't come up with a goal, you're going to be in a situation that looks like stuff is always happening to you. Then you're going to try to figure out what it must have meant. And then he says you're going to be wrong because you had no idea what should have happened in the first place. And you're not using every situation in your life to make what you want to happen. So this is an opportunity. You wanted to come here today, and you wanted to tune in with the Course. Well, you're here, so this is what? An opportunity to make that happen. We said we want to come together on the truth. So what is it we should be doing right now? We should be seeing this as an opportunity to make that happen. What could be easier than studying the Course in Miracles with other people who want to study the Course in Miracles and who share that purpose? This should be a joyous occasion. And it is, except it's not for our ego. Our ego hates it. The part of you that thinks you don't deserve love, the part of you that thinks that you're not brilliant, the part of you that thinks you're not a God and divine, that thinks you're just a person who has some things you've done in the past that you might have to try to overcome and forgive, that thinks it's going to die one day. That the Course says that part of you is never happy to hear the truth, because the truth undoes that self. My sad sack self is not going to want to hear about how I can have total joy, because that undoes my sad sack self. The part of me that doesn't believe I deserve to have somebody that loves me for who I am, that believes I don't deserve that, it's not going to be happy listening to a teaching that says Earl deserves to be happy and to be accepted for who he is and loved for who he is. That part of me that doesn't believe I deserve that, it's going to do everything in its power to keep me from remembering one single thing I just read out of this book to you. And unless you realize that there is a part of you that wants to do that, then the Course says you're going to keep on ending up in situations where you don't know how you got in that situation, because you're not aware of your ego. You're not aware of that part of you that thinks it's separate and what its agenda is. I love how Jesus says in the Course, said, look here, I'm going to give you the one desire underlying the whole world and everybody in it. Okay? So I want you to say to yourself, everybody who has not awakened yet has this desire. So if you're walking down the street, you know what everybody wants. And he says, well, it's specialness. Every single person in this room, the part of them that's not enlightened, wants to be special. Wants to either be seen special in some way, superior or inferior specialness. He said some people do that specialness by being the worst ones, but that allows them to be singled out. And then some people do it by wanting to be better than everybody, or get more attention than anybody else. I don't know about you, but when I've been in a special relationship, the thing that I would get most upset about is when my specialness got threatened. And it didn't look like I was as special as I used to be. Or better yet, somebody else was getting my specialness. I walked in the bedroom and caught that one. Okay, now, I don't want to be special. I don't want to be so special to anybody that they'll kill me. I know people, I've heard of people being killed out of jealous rages. I don't want to be that special. That you think I'm so special to you that you want to take my body as life. But I remember when I did, I go, oh my God, she's jealous. She must really got her going. Look how jealous she's getting about what I do. See? So if your goal is peace, and my goal with you is peace, if I feel jealousy coming up, then I'm going to try to overlook my jealousy and focus on how can I help you feel safe right now. Then he says, that approach brings you closer to the Holy Spirit sorting out of what's true and what's false. Okay, so how do you sort out, I'm going to end this with this rest of the paragraph. This is another big point. How do you sort out the true from the false? I'm about to tell you how to tell the difference between is this true or is it not? Is this true or is it false? Would you like to know how to tell when something is true and when it's not? Okay, it's the next part of the sentence. What does it say? It says, the true becomes what can be used to meet the goal. So if I'm getting ready to get upset with Darlene, then what's true for me to do is what's going to help me be peaceful with her and to give her. So the truth is going to, in other words, the truth is going to be whatever helps you meet your goal. Whatever helps you meet your goal, that's how you know what's true for you in that instant. If my goal is to be friendly to her and loving to her, then anything that helps me be loving to her and friendly to her is what I'll call the true advice. And then the Court says the false becomes the useless from this point of view. In other words, what's false is anything that's not helping me reach my goal. So what's true in my life and who's real in my life, who's real in my life are the ones who are helping me reach my goal of peace and love. Who's unreal in my life are the ones who are not being used that way, and I'm using them for anger, guilt, and grievances or some type of upset from the past. So what's true is what helps you meet your goal. What's not true is what's not helping you meet your goal. That's how the Course would say you would decide what's real in your life and what's not. If I'm in a relationship and all we do is judge or condemn each other or not be loving to each other, that's not a real relationship from this point of view. If we're not using that relationship to get past our blocks and love each other more, then that relationship is not real based on my goal. If you and I are focusing on whatever helps us continue to love each other, then we have a true relationship and it's real. Because what's real and true is what's helping me meet the goal. So if your goal is to have abundance and prosperity and you feel like making yourself feel guilty about that or telling yourself that you don't deserve that, those kind of thoughts are not helpful to help you reach your goal of abundance. So you would overlook those thoughts and you would concentrate on all the thoughts that made you aware that you deserve abundance and love. If you want to slow yourself down, join in relationships with people who don't want to share a goal with you. And that's the best way in the world to delay your happiness. So if the people in your life don't care enough about you to join you in a peaceful, loving goal, you might want to consider the value of those relationships if they're not helping you reach your goal. Now, if your goal is to learn how to be okay being around people that you don't get along with, then they're giving you a perfect opportunity. So they can help you meet your goal too. So let me wrap this up by saying, look, those of you out there who know you need to forgive your perception of your mother, that's the clarification of the goal, right? So that means that all you have to do in that situation is look at today as an opportunity to make that happen. And you want to concentrate on every thought, every teaching that could help you let go of that grievance. And then you want to start to overlook as best you can everything you think your mother did to you that you're making yourself feel pain about. If you really want to forgive and see it another way, then you'll want to do this. If you want to hold on to your grievance and continue to keep the pain going, then you're going to come up with all the reasons why you can't look at her another way. When you really want something, you're going to focus on what helps you meet the goal, and you're going to overlook what keeps you from achieving your goal. All right, let's take a breath. Now, I would love for you to do a magnificent thing right now, which is acknowledge yourself. If y'all be willing to do that. Pretend that you're acknowledging your favorite artist. I needed that. And what's the last sentence? The situation now has meaning because your goal made it meaningful. See, this situation with you all, the time I'm spending with you all has meaning to me because my goal of teaching and sharing the course is happening. So this is a meaningful situation for me because of my goal, which is to have an opportunity to appreciate you and to acknowledge you. And what's a cool thing is somebody who would harm me or misperceive me, they'll separate from me without me saying anything. Because people who want to harm you or judge you or condemn you, if you don't attack them and you remain loving, they go. They go because they don't believe they deserve to be loved. So they don't trust you and they become suspicious of you. And they'll separate. And hopefully you're smart enough to let them. Yeah. I hope you love yourself enough to let them, because that vacuum is going to be filled. Nature abhors a vacuum. And you create that space for the love to come in, for the cool people to come in, they're going to show up. But it may be, you may have a little period of time that it looks like you're not around as many people as you used to be. That's the in-between stage. You're on the bridge. All right. All right, I'm going to wrap it up in just a minute, and I'll pass this around. Thank you if you'd like to share. I'm a full-time teacher of the Course in Miracles on a donation basis, so thank you so much for sharing, and thank you, Holy Spirit. If you'd like to make a financial expression of appreciation and you're online, I'll make it easy for you. You can use Venmo, the Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, Square, or go to my website, Earl Purdy at earlpurdy.com. Earl Purdy at earlpurdy.com. That's my email address, Earl Purdy at earlpurdy.com. So subscribe and follow me. I'm broadcasting live on YouTube and on Facebook simultaneously. You don't have to have to have an account to watch on YouTube. I am also asking for those who see themselves as students who are learning the course through me. I would like for you to get in touch with me and let me know who you are. There are some things that I'm going to do with people who really want to learn through me, not from me, through me. You move real fast with people who trust you and are open to you, and the way you are is the way they like it. I'm available for clarity sessions, one-on-one sessions called clarity sessions, and also for people who would like an astrological, numerological interpretation, reading through me. Your astrological chart is a message from God telling you exactly what you are able to do here, what you're able to do here the easiest to fulfill your function. Everybody comes here with a blueprint of the intentions of their soul in entering the body. And people who are struggling are the people who are not aware of their purpose and their easiest path. And astrology, numerology, and other types of means of communicating from spirit answers that question. What am I here for? What is it I should do? Because you set the goal, so now the how presents itself. Just like I was saying. You were not dropped in the world with no direction, with no guidance. So I'm available for that. Go to my website and you can self-book a session with me right from my website. And you can come in Denver, Colorado. You can come to 1555 Race Street, and in Denver, Colorado, in person. It's really cool people here. Today is May 12th. Next Sunday, which is May 19th, I will not be here physically in the room to meet with you all, but I'll still be online. So I'm going to Memphis to my grandson's high school graduation.
All right.
And so I'll be in Memphis playing the role of Earl Purdy, the father. Such a role. I deserve an Oscar. Oh, I deserve an Earl. When you go visit family, for me, it always feels like a very sincere, happy, but like I'm coming into a movie set because I have roles, right? So all of a sudden I become brother, uncle, father, grandfather, all these different roles. And so that's because what? I need to do what? I need to be clear about what I want to happen when I go to Memphis.
Yeah.
Right? I need to be clear of the kind of relationship I want to have with everybody when I go there. Get clear about what I want to come out of it. Right? Decide in advance how I want it to be when I go visit each one of my relatives or they visit me. Concentrate on everything that make me be loving and peaceful to them. Overlook anything they may say or do that would make me feel separate from them. Look at it as now what's true is anything that makes me be loving with them. What's not true is anything that would make me be unloving with them, because my goal helps me understand what's going on and helps me evaluate what to do. Because without a goal, you can't evaluate what's right or wrong. As you know what should be happening, how you're going to say this isn't the way to go and this is the way to go, because this is my goal. You came here today because it was your goal to come here today. If someone had said, let's go to Boulder, and you really wanted to come here, you would say, that's not the right direction. That's wrong direction. But because I know I want to come here, whatever moves me here, that's right direction. That's what he means by true and false. What helps you meet your goal is true. What doesn't help you meet your goal, see that it's false. So if your goal is peace, your goal is sanity, then the Course in Miracles explains in detail what your insane, fearful mind is like and what it's going to do or attempt to do. And it also tells you exactly what your sane, loving, spiritual mind is going to do and how it's going to operate, so you can tell the difference between when you're getting ready to make a mistake and when you're doing the thing that's going to be for your own best interest. And you don't have to make that up. The Course is not asking for your wisdom and my wisdom. It's saying, I'm going to tell you what to do, and I'm going to tell you the things to tell yourself. And if you do this, you're going to achieve your goal of happiness and peace. I'm going to tell you what you're going to try to do to block yourself. And I'm going to tell you exactly what to do to get past any of those blocks. Take a breath. So this is what you want to do. when you leave out here today, in every situation that you go in, especially the situations that you're not certain what to do, ask yourself, what do I want to come out of this? What is it for? What do I want to come out of this? What is it for? What do I want to come out of this? What is this for? What do I want to come out of this? What do I want to come out of this? What is it for? What do I want to come out of this? What is it for? What do you want to come out of this? What is it for? Set the goal. Set the goal. The clarification of the goal belongs at the beginning. See every situation that you go into for the rest of the day. See every situation that you go into is an opportunity to make what you want to happen, happen. Every situation in your life is an opportunity to make what you want to happen, happen. Every situation, every relationship you have is an opportunity to make what you want to happen, happen. And what's true is what helps you achieve that, and what's false is what doesn't help you achieve that. So, mighty companions, thank you for giving me an opportunity to heal. Hopefully I've been healing and helpful to you. My goal with you is happiness and peace and joy and sanity and fun. That's what I want to experience with each and every one of you. That's and healing. I'm claiming my goal from the very beginning. I'm going to do what I'm being told so that I don't just have a bunch of stuff happen to me today that I don't know how in the hell it came from, and then I'm going to try to figure out why it happened and come up with my understanding, which is going to be wrong. All right. Love you.
Thank you.
It's good. We can give it to us. It's all right. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's all right.